and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Knight.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as Dumbass on the internet. And welcome to the P-Dog Night channel, where sometimes you just have technical difficulties all morning and you don't even notice it. And this is a technical boomer moment. I bet you all are screaming at me down here, aren't you? Yes, F for the sound. Holy shit. Well, you know, sometimes I do that on purpose just to see if y'all are paying attention. Anyway, welcome to the show. We're going to talk about the bloodbath, and we're going to talk about all kinds of other stuff. And I'm not going to even say it again. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Night of the Internet. It's March the 18th, 2024. Welcome back to the P-Dog Night channel for the Morning Night Live. And let's say hi and get this going. I'm not even going to say it all again because I screwed up. First in the chat, Mr. Avocados Diablo gets the bell. Yes. Good morning. And also, that's on Rumble. Oh, by the way, thank you, Gunfox61. You are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Dropped a Hamilton in the tip jar with some space news, which we'll touch on for sure. Over on YouTube, first in the chat was Kara Soldier gets the bell. Well done, sir. Also, good morning, Sure You Gospel Avocados Diabli. Anonymity, T2, I'll be back. Mike Savage, Blarg. Also, Willie, what's up? Nice to see you back. Simon Wolfwood's in the house. Amazing Disgrace, welcome back. Good morning, Patio Furniture. Hello to Lord Stanhope, Todd Swank, Simon Humble Nation. As I scroll down, let's see who else is here. I gotta go through this kind of slow so I don't miss anybody. I got that already. Yes, I know. F07. I got you. Hope you recorded locally. Yes. No, I don't record locally. I should record locally. I don't I just play it. I'll probably cut it out when the replay comes out. Also, let's see who else is here. Is that everybody? It's everybody. Everybody probably left when they realized they couldn't hear me. So anyway, hope you're all having a good morning, and I hope you had a good weekend. I didn't get my theme. Oh, there you go. That's for Avocados Diabli. I'm very sorry. Like I said, it's a brain fart, but it's a brain fart morning. Okay, it just is. So there was so much from the weekend, but the main one was, God, the media lost their freaking mind, trying to, they have this, the Democrats and the media and the leftists, I know this is really redundant, but have this strategy that they are going to make, they're going to tell you their version of Donald Trump, no matter what, and no matter what he says, they will find a way to twist it into something that's nefarious. And they did that with the word bloodbath this weekend. So I'm going to talk about that when I get to it. But I mean, this one is so blatant that I can't fathom that it was almost like they had a meeting or something. They have a chat group somewhere where they all say, okay, we're all going to go with this same exact narrative. And because again, it's like Time Magazine wrote, and that when Trump lost in 2020, we did it. We did our job. We made sure Donald Trump isn't president again. And they're using everything. They're using lawfare. They're using lies. They're using, good. Look, Trump makes a gaffe. That's fair game. And he makes plenty of them. Not on the scale that Joe Biden does, in my opinion, but he makes plenty of them. But also, it's easy to twist his words, I guess, because their base and the people who don't actually take the time to pay attention will believe anything they say because they still trust the media. But that trust is waning every day. And every time they do something like this, you have to think, no, this is not okay. They're lying again. This is an absolute blatant lie. And someone's going to be like, I used to let this go, but I'm not going to anymore. At least you hope it's that way. Anyway, so let's get into the regular show. Again, there's Gunfox Streamlabs Superstar sponsor today, and if you want to be the Streamlabs Superstar sponsor today, it's just the daily person who has the highest tip amount of the morning, because I got to pay the bills. I got a cable. My internet comes through cable, at least. I have a cable bill to pay, and that's how I pay it, and for some things, and plus we got to go on vacation. My birthday's coming up, by the way. I'm gonna do my birthday week next week because I'm not going to be here on my birthday week. So next week will be birthday week, just announcing that. And hopefully I'll have some guests on. That's kind of, I need to get back into having guests on the show. I'd say kind of the only way to grow, I guess. And so there you go. That's what we're doing in the future. All right, let me make sure I'm fitting there on this. Yes, I am in the right spot. Okay, good. All right, let's get into some news though, because that's what we come here for. Now why do I have this up here first? Oh, because I didn't even do locals. God, I did not tweet out the show. Maybe. Oh, a roof over here is more important than streaming. I'm just not going to. I'll do it later. I'll do the replay. But let's see. I got a notification. Thank you, Somnambule Nation, for retweeting the show or tweeting out the show. And if you here, in fact, let's do this. I'm going to take her post, and we're going to put this in the chat. And that is the one you need to share on X. If you're on X. Otherwise, share the stream, do your thing, and what's so forth and so on. Good morning, GDSOB, by the way. 0400 Gannett talking points are a thing. I don't know what that means. Okay. So let's talk about what's going on. Now the world is buzzing right now. If you didn't know, there's something happening, and I don't know what it is, but I keep seeing a royal announcement, hashtag royal announcement, okay, is trending. And also hashtag Kate Middleton is trending. I didn't follow any of this Kate Middleton royal family stuff that, supposedly she's missing or whatever and all that. And I thought it was rather silly, but it's trending on X, royal announcement. And now this funny thing is only Princess Diana fans are allowed to like this tweet, King Charles Buckingham royal announcement. I don't know what that means. And somebody copied that exact same tweet, but someone says, I can't believe it, royal announcement, Prince King Charles. Now this says, now this is not it. This is not the royal announcement. It is with heavy heart that it is with a heavy heart that we must inform you, the country, that during a routine prostate operation, His Majesty Prince King Charles III was accidentally beheaded. That's not the royal announcement. But that is funny. During what is it, Kate Middleton? That would be isn't that Prince William's spouse? She's the princess. Well, and apparently all these royal announcements, everyone keeps putting up pictures of Diana. Now I don't know why. But here's the other thing. Someone says the claim of a lowered flag at Buckingham Palace is erroneous and deceptive. The video being circulated dates back to September 2022, and there's no current period of mourning for the royal family. Someone was saying, "Oh yeah, the flag over Buckingham Palace was at half mast or half staff, however you decide to choose to call that." But that is fake, not true. Good morning, Tyler F. So I don't know. No one knows what the royal announcement is going to be. All I know is that's trending. Kate Middleton's trending, and eventually we'll have a royal announcement. Well, wait a minute. Here's one. Everyone on X platform is talking about King Charles is no more, and a royal announcement since this morning. Now we are the following announcement here, which is made by Royal Communications. Is this it? Is this the royal announcement? The following announcement made by Royal Communications. You go to your closet and you select, I don't know, that lumpy blue sweater, for instance, because we're trying to tell the world that you take yourself too seriously to care about what you put on your back. But what you don't know is that the sweater is not just blue. It's not turquoise. It's not lapis. It's cerulean. Now you're also blithely unaware of the fact that in 2002, Oscar de la Renta did a collection of cerulean gowns, and I think it was Yves Saint Laurent, wasn't it? Who showed cerulean military jackets. I think we need a jacket here. And then cerulean quickly showed up at the collections of 8 different designers. Then it filtered down through the department stores and then trickled down on some tragic casual corner where you no doubt fished out of some clearance bin. Fished it out. However, that blue represents billions of dollars of countless jobs, and it is sort of comical how you think that you've made a choice that exempts you from the fashion industry when in fact you're wearing a sweater that was selected for you by the people in this room from a pile of, quote, stuff, end quote. So that's the royal announcement. The royal communication was something about a cerulean sweater. So anyway, there is some royal announcement that's supposed to happen, and I have no idea. People are wondering what it is, and no, the flag is not at half mast and all that stuff. So eventually we'll find out what the royal announcement is. Now, speaking of things that are from other side of the ocean, that is spans from New York to the Great Isles. Yesterday was St. Patrick's Day. Yay! Happy St. Patrick's Day to those who celebrate it and are of some Irish heritage or fake Irish heritage, because a lot of people pretend to be they have Irish heritage and they don't. I actually do have Irish heritage. My entire mother's side of the family came directly from Ireland via Cork. All of my great grandparents on my mother's side were from the Cork area of Ireland and immigrated here late 1800s. And so, yeah, I am half Irish, and then the other half is Nigerian. And so St. Patrick's Day, the great drinking holiday in the United States, was celebrated quite heartily. And I have a few tweets, though, that I want to show you that were mostly prominent as far as St. Patrick's Day, because there are some interesting ones. First, St. Patty's Day, St. Patrick's Day, and Ireland were all trending. Okay, so because, St. Patrick's Day is something about the snakes and St. Patrick in Ireland or something. I don't know. You can tell me what it is. But some of the things that were trending because of St. Patrick's Day in the United States, well, not in the United States necessarily, but just because of St. Patrick's Day, were things like this. Apparently there was a St. Patrick's Day somewhere in Wisconsin, probably Milwaukee. By the way, St. Paul, Minnesota, where I live, roughly, I live in a suburb, but has a huge St. Patrick's Day celebration and parade. And apparently it was just wall-to-wall peoples on Grand Avenue where they have the parades there. And it was quite the spectacle. Some friends went to it and said, oh my gosh, you can barely walk around. But anyway, St. Patrick's Day was being celebrated, and this float was one at the St. Patrick's Day in Wisconsin.
I'm Dr. Joe Biden's husband.
This is, this is a float.
And I Jenny's ice cream, chocolate chip.
So they had a Biden character
By the way,
stumbling around on a float eating ice cream. So that's exciting. I know you're just enthralled by this. But also something odd, though. Now, people in Ireland, I guess, are not happy with Joe Biden. And now I don't know if it's all the people of Ireland or if it's just, a certain faction of people in Ireland. But there's a couple things that I would show you that might hint that maybe the people of Ireland are not excited about Joe Biden. But this one is a message to Joe Biden from some group, and I'll play it here. Let's see. It's playing. Okay.
We are here at the ancient graveyard of Kilwera in County Louth to send a message to you, President Biden.
By the way, I'm going to play all two minutes of this because it may surprise you. I'm just saying. It may surprise you.
We are here at
too.
the ancient graveyard of Kilwera in County Louth to send a message to you, President Biden, and to honour our ancestors and yours that are buried here. For centuries, Irish people lived in poverty, under occupation and oppression.
You just got a hint of what this is about.
During the Great Hunger of the 1840s, our British occupiers allowed 1 million Irish people to die of starvation and disease. 1 million were forced to emigrate, like your great-great-grandparents, Owen and Jane Finnegan, who sailed out of Carlingford Lough. Among their children on board was 7-year-old James, your great-grandfather. On St. Patrick's Day, when millions of Americans celebrate their Irish origins, we want you
to just get shit-faced in bars with drinking green shit.
Hear this message from Ireland. We grew up with the terrible legacy of our ancestors, forced from their homes, dying of hunger.
Interesting. She grew up with the legacy of it. So they didn't grow up of it. But anyway, it's just an interesting, I'm catching some things that I didn't catch the first time. Good morning, Jaeger Pony, my favorite Canadians in the house. Nice to see you.
On the road. Their bodies were found with grass in their mouths. Because of our history, the Irish people will never forgive those.
Lord Stanhope, who says, I hope this has nothing to do with Palestinians. I think the garment around her neck may give you a hint what this is about.
Who enable the oppression, ethnic cleansing, and genocide of another people, as you have done in Gaza.
In Gaza. Now, I've been thinking about this a lot lately because I've been seeing the numbers that have been bandied about regarding Gaza. Not that I think that it's not tragic that there are people dying. But when I think of the word genocide that they keep using, genocide and ethnic cleansing, and then compared to their claims that 30,000 people have been killed, which I don't know how many of those were Hamas fighters. And I'm sure there's obviously awful collateral damage in a war because, you know, when you commit an act of war and someone actually takes you up on it and you're not prepared or equipped to have a war with someone who's far more prepared for this type of war, certainly there's going to be an excess number of casualties on your side after you started the war. But 30,000, and it may be more, but 30,000 out of 7 million Gazans is not a genocide. And when now in Israel, I guess, does what they can to warn people where they're going to bomb and because they're hitting known Hamas targets. And clearly Hamas doesn't even want those people to move because they want more martyrs. So I don't think it's, she can compare it to Ireland all she wants. But I don't know. That's it. Anyway, is Palestinian ethnicity? No, it is not. And that's the other part. When that region was under British rule and it was still called Palestine, everyone had British passports with a Palestine designation, because that was what the region was called. That's what the Romans called it. Of course, it's not an ethnicity because Palestine is a Roman name for the region. It was renamed by the Romans. It's not an Arab name. It's not a Muslim name because look, Islam didn't exist when this region came into existence, when it was renamed Palestine by the Romans. So no, there is no Palestinian ethnicity. There are various peoples that live in that region. The only time it was ever a nation was twice, when it was the Kingdom of Israel and what's the other one? The Kingdom of Judea, which Judea might give you a hint as to who lived there. So anyway, let's finish this up.
In arming, financing, and providing political cover for the Israeli regime.
Now, it's interesting because arming, well, Israel buys arms from us. Now, we do an inordinate amount of financial aid to Israel, too. Probably part of that is due to the obligations when it was formed in 48. But, and you can debate whether or not that's necessary, because certainly Israel is a very successful country on its own, has its own money. So I don't know but they certainly do they purchase arms from us, but they also create a lot of their own stuff too. So the technology, the Iron Dome technology, for example, that was created in Israel, which so anyway.
You have betrayed your Irish ancestors as you have betrayed humanity.
You're correct. Kingdom of Jerusalem, not the Kingdom of Judea. Kingdom of Jerusalem. That I meant. Okay, it was the Kingdom of Israel, Kingdom of Israel under King David, and then Kingdom of Jerusalem under Baldwin the First. Correct.
We stand with the people of Palestine. End the genocide now, and a permanent, lasting ceasefire.
Okay, so that was under the trending topic of St. Patrick's Day, which was interesting. And so, but apparently there's a faction in Ireland that is not happy with Joe Biden. So now, and as you continue this, in Dublin, they had some kind of a boat race, and they had these two boats racing. One of them is flying an Irish flag on St. Patrick's Day, but look at all the Palestinian flags on the bridge, which is interesting. Again, man, it's wild. So I don't know, man, what's going on in Ireland? Maybe Mike could tell us. I don't know. And then there's also this. This is Palestinian community participated in St. Patrick's Day celebrations in Cork. Now it's funny. Why are they? Isn't St. Patrick's Day something? I mean, it certainly has something to do with Catholicism, right? But apparently the Palestinian community participated in St. Patrick's Day celebrations in Cork. They danced to Irish and Palestinian music while wearing both countries' traditional costumes. Ireland and Palestine not only share a history of resilience, but also joyful spirits and love of life. Well, that's good, I guess. I mean, everyone should have joyful spirits and a love of life. So it's interesting that how much this Palestinian question seems to be happening in Ireland, at least if you depend on X for your information. Here's an interesting picture too that was trending under there. Apparently, most of the Kennedy family joined President Biden at the White House to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. Basically, a finger in the eye of Robert Kennedy Jr. Again, it says, wow, it looks like nearly the entire Kennedy clan was at the White House today to celebrate St. Patrick's Day with President Biden. One can't help to think this is also not a not so subtle message to RFK Jr. as well. Yeah, perhaps most of his family is supporting Joe Biden, I guess. Well, okay, whatever. And then finally, here's another one. This guy, apparently this showed up several times. This guy hates Donald Trump. This is someone named Dropkick. Dropkick Murphys is a band, I guess, and what they have to say about Donald Trump and MAGA. This guy this is one of these guys that just hates Donald Trump, and one of these people. If you're Donald Trump, you're a dumbass. Blah 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 blah.
If you were part of a union of working class people who were allowed to build a better life in the middle class in America, you fucking listen to us.
Okay, I'm listening.
If you're out there buying those fucking hats that these swindlers are selling at that fucking fair. I'm sorry, kids. I know there's kids here.
I wonder if this is at the Milwaukee Festival grounds, because he said that fair, and Milwaukee has a giant St. Patrick's celebration in the festival grounds there. They have Milwaukee has a permanent festival grounds that they have festivals pretty much every weekend from spring all the way through the end of summer. And it's an amazing thing, because I mean, you go like 1 week it's Irish Fest, then it's Italian Fest, then it's Summer Fest, then it's Water Fest, then it's this fest and that fest. Every weekend there's a festival in Milwaukee, and they're all huge, like huge. It's like every weekend. Oh, what are you gonna do? Well, I'm gonna go to the festival. What festival is it this weekend? I don't know. It's another festival. Let's go drink some beer. It's pretty much what happens in Milwaukee. So this may be in Milwaukee, although they're kind of dressed not warm enough for Milwaukee. I don't know. Let's see.
Then you're part of the
Summer, yeah, the Summerfest grounds.
Because you're being duped by the greatest swindler in the history of the world.
I hate Donald Trump. He's an asshole.
Who don't give a shit about you or your family.
Yeah, well, except the ones that are trying to make you buy electric cars and killing your industry in the auto industry, because that's what they're doing, and they're some of the rank and file people are starting to lose their jobs and catching on to this shit. So this guy's very unhappy with Donald Trump.
They care about their fucking tax breaks.
Now notice, by the way, this guy right here, like right down in front, well, not in front, but this guy. Notice he isn't clapped to anything this asshole said. It's like, can we hear some music now, dude? This is good. All the women are cheering, but not a whole lot of the men are. It's interesting.
The money they can put in their pocket. If you consider yourself a patriot and you're spouting off that election.
Look at these guys are just talking like, this guy's an idiot. Let's hear some music, dumbass. None of the guys are cheering.
Fight your ass outside if you
Oh, a
want
couple
to.
guys are putting their hands up. But these guys at back are just like, fuck this guy. Notice that?
The working class people, these people, the fucking rich, the billionaires, and they don't give a shit.
Okay, so the Dropkick Murphys, whoever the hell they are very adamant about that. All right, shall we move on now? Shall we talk about some other? Oh wait, one more. This is I forgot I had one more here, and this is now we're talking about promoting violence, right? We're talking about promoting violence because we're talking about the bloodbath today, right? We're talking about the bloodbath. And I saw this, this just little picture here. I'm like, oh my goodness, that looks pretty violent. It says, hopefully, with a hopefully in the tweet, St. Patrick's Day political art, may he continue to banish the snakes from our land. Well, he's got a pointy thing and he's jabbing at their heads. That sounds pretty violent. I don't know. That doesn't, but no, I'm sorry. It's not violence when the political left or Democrats do it. It's just politics. But if Donald Trump says it, well, then he's going to go out and start, calling for people to kill people. We'll get to that. I promise. Good morning, Big Dave. 1066. Nice to see you again. I like Dropkick Murphys. Then they pulled this shit at a concert, and that was the last time I'll go see them. He has total TDS, and it is bad. Yeah, clearly. Yeah, it is Dropkick Murphy. I don't even know what a Dropkick Murphy is, so it doesn't bother me at all. Hello, Special Can Acid, by the way. Good morning. Welcome. All right, let's move on. Let's do the article Gunfox sent me, since he was so gracious to drop a Hamilton in the tip jar. By the way, the Morning Night Live is sponsored by you, the viewers of the Morning Night Live. Please sponsor the show by hitting the like button, share the stream, and you can drop a Hamilton or something in the tip jar at pdognight.live, which is the link that I will post. Oh, I'll pin it to the top of I'll pin to the super chat thing up there to the top of the YouTube and what's nots and whatever that is, and I'll drop a link in the in Rumble too. There you go. So now you can. But that's the best place. Now, if you want to do super chats or you want to do Rumble rants, that's cool too. Venmo, Cash App, it's all in the description. You can figure it out. All right, let's get into the news. I got a lot to get through, and we're going to try to get through as much of it as we can. Let's start with this one that Gunfox sent me. Starship Flight 3 excels through most major milestones. Ship 28 and Booster 10 excelled in nearly every aspect and nearly completed every objective during its launch at the first attempt from Starbase in Texas. Booster 10. This is the SpaceX rocket that we talked about. We mentioned Friday, but now they're having a kind of an after launch report. Booster 10 and Starship 28 lifted off from orbital launch pad A at 8:25 a.m. Central Daylight Time, and once again, all booster engines were running from the start. All engines would continue to run until most engines cut off, MECO. When Ship 28 successfully separated from Booster 10 using hot staging once again, after stage separation, Booster 10 perfectly completed a flip and boost back burn and went into coast down to a landing. Oh, so this is one of those that the ones that fly back and land, and it did its flip and landed perfectly. However, a soft water landing was not achieved as Booster 10 started to lose control as it went through the thicker parts of the atmosphere and began to tumble, which led to a hard splashdown and rapid unscheduled disassembly. Then Ship 28 continued until a second stage engine cutoff and entered into a coast phase in space. SpaceX. I'm missing things here. SpaceX were able to complete the payload door test and cryogenic transfer test. However, teams opted not to complete the in-space burn for Raptor. Ship 28 would then attempt re-entry. However, the ship would not survive. However, with the loss of Ship 28 on re-entry, SpaceX will need to perform a mishap investigation. Like the last flight, overall, Flight 3 was a resounding success. So this is all testing stuff. So yeah, rapid unscheduled disassembly. Yeah, it broke up. So anyway, but these are test flights and they're testing stuff, and apparently they're happy with their test and good for them. The article will be in the links. Moving on. In legal insurrection. This is all just like quick hits. 4 years ago this weekend was the launch of the 15 days to slow the spread, from which the nation has not yet recovered. So As the nation is gearing up for another general election, Legal Insurrection is going to use the Wayback Machine to review what was happening at this point in the last presidential election cycle, after reports surfaced about a surge of a novel respiratory disease that appeared to originate from Wuhan, China.
China is asshole.
President Donald Trump created a coronavirus task force led by Dr. Anthony Fauci. Yes, it's from Dr. Anthony Fauci. I should read the whole thing in Dr. Anthony Fauci's voice. So we're gonna try to read this and just do this the right way, okay? Because, you know, we got to make sure that we do it all right and there's no misinformation. President Donald Trump created a coronavirus task force and utilized recommendations from the Centers for Disease Control, which I run, and prevention, and to essentially lock down the country for 15 days on March 16, 2020 to slow the spread of the virus. We must slow the spread, okay? This afternoon, President Trump and the White, and this is from March 16, 2020. This afternoon, President Trump and the White House Coronavirus Task Force issued new guidelines to help protect Americans during the global coronavirus outbreak. The new recommendations are simple to follow, but will have a resounding impact on public health while the president leads a nationwide response, bringing together government resources and private sector ingenuity. Every American can help slow the virus spread and keep our most high-risk populations safe. So here were the recommendations. Listen to and follow the directions of your state and local authorities. Unless they're assholes. I'll just finish it all unless they're assholes. If you feel sick, stay home. Do not go to work. Contact your medical provider unless he's an asshole or she. If your children are sick, keep them home. Contact your medical provider unless he or she is an asshole. If someone in your household has tested positive for the coronavirus, keep the entire household at home unless they're assholes. If you're an older American, stay at home and away from other people because they're assholes. And if you are a person with a serious underlying health condition, such as significant heart and lung problems, stay home and stay away from other people because they're assholes. Anyway, so this is the vital point. The announcement and associated policies were supposed to be about slowing the spread, not stopping it cold. The idea was that the virus effects on the respiratory system were so bad that slowing the spread was imperative to get the medical resources into position so that health systems could handle it. Now, I'm going to read it more. What they've later discovered since then is that apparently China figured out fairly early on that putting the people on respirators was the worst thing you could do. And so they stopped doing it. And, fewer people were dying, but they didn't tell anybody else. In fact, they didn't tell anybody else for about a year. And in fact, there were memos that said that there have been some communications unearthed from people in our land, our vast land, that had made communications with those people. And they said, yeah, no, stop using the ventilator. And we didn't stop. And so a lot of people probably perished unnecessarily. One of the other things I want to remind you is that, remember when they said that they were worried that there could be as much as 50% of people who died, and then they changed that one really quickly down to about, they said eventually they whittled it down to about 3.5%. And then Donald Trump said something, well, it's probably going to be less than 1% because it's a really, it's a special disease. It's a big disease, but we can certainly, we can do our best. Anyway, and he said it'd be under 1%. And now, in the end, it is less than 1% have died from coronavirus. But it certainly was not a good time in our history. Also in the news, the NCAA, the National Collegiate Athletic Association, is trending. Now, of course, partly because it's March Madness is coming, right? It's basketball tournament time. They did the selection shows yesterday. They got the brackets. You got to start filling out brackets today because I think the play-in games start tomorrow. But you start filling in your brackets for the NCAA men's and women's basketball tournaments. Well, that's one of the reasons the NCAA is trending. But also, the NCAA is being sued by some women. Some women are suing the NCAA. College swimmers and volleyball players are suing the NCAA over transgender policies. And good for them. Atlanta, former Kentucky swimmer Riley Gaines is among more than a dozen college athletes who filed a lawsuit against the NCAA on Thursday, accusing it of violating their Title IX rights by allowing Leah Thomas to compete at the national championships in 2022. The lawsuit filed in U.S. District Court in Atlanta details the shock Gaines and other swimmers felt when they learned that they would have to share a locker room with Thomas at the championships in Atlanta. It documents a number of races they swam in with Thomas, including the 200-yard final, which Thomas and Gaines tied for fifth, but Thomas, not Gaines, was handed the fifth-place trophy. Thomas swam for Pennsylvania. She competed for the men's team at Penn before the gender transition. Another plaintiff, Tyler Matthew of Florida, finished ninth in the preliminary heats of the 500 free, which left her one spot from swimming in the final that Thomas would go on to win. Thomas was the first openly transgender athlete to win a Division I title in any sport, finishing in front of 3 Olympic medalists for the championship. But by not making the final, Matthew was denied first-team All-American honors in that event. Now, it's interesting, but not the first NCAA champion in a sport, just in Division I, apparently, because we already know that there was the runner, I want to say from Montana or something like that, who won the NCAA Division II championship in the 400 meters after running, literally the year before, ran as a man, and in the next year ran as a woman. Something Telford, CC Telford, I think. Anyway, other plaintiffs include athletes from volleyball and track. The lawsuit said the plaintiffs bring this case to secure the future generation of women and the promise of a Title IX that is being denied them and other college women by the NCAA. College sports are the premier stage for women's sports in America, and while the NCAA does not comment on pending litigation, the association and its members will continue to promote Title IX, make unprecedented investments in women's sports, and ensure fair competition in all NCAA championships. Or not. We'll see if they have to be sued into it, and it's going to be interesting. This is interesting. Hello, TC, by the way. It is interesting because the NCAA is making adjustments to their policies based on what the international governing bodies for various sports are doing. But they still have some, in lower divisions, they still have plenty of transgender people competing in women's sports. So it'll be interesting. Critics contend transgender athletes have an advantage over cisgender women. This is what is it? I don't know what CTV is, but clearly because it's an Associated Press article. So they're using all the language, like the way that, the trans activists demand you do. So as I'm reading this article, I'm like, wait a minute, why are they doing this? Let's look at Zero Hedge's version of this, because this is interesting too. So again, in the latest attack on transgender madness in women's sport, former University of Kentucky Wildcat swimmer Riley Gaines and 15 other female athletes have filed a suit against the NCAA, alleging violations of the federal Title IX law arising from its insertion of man-to-woman transgender athletes into women's competition. The NCAA's most basic job is to protect the fairness and safety of competition, but instead the NCAA continues to openly discriminate against women, Gaines told the Free Press. So that's a different tone than the other article was taking. Much of the complaint centers on what women experienced at the 2022 National Swimming Championships. Infamously, man-to-woman transgender Penn Quaker Leah Thomas was not only allowed to compete against women, but was also given use of the women's locker room, as described in this excerpt from the 156-page complaint. Now, I am linking the complaint here too, so you'll be able to find that. I'm obviously not going to go through that today. But here's the excerpt they chose. The first time most of the plaintiffs became aware of Thomas's access to the women's locker room and restrooms was, one, when Thomas walked in on them while they were fully naked or in a state of substantial undress, and two, when they unwittingly walked in on Thomas and observed Thomas undressed with male genitalia exposed, or when Thomas undressed in front of them. NC State Wolfpack swimmer Kylie Ahlens chose to change in a dimly lit storage and utility closet behind a set of bleachers rather than risking being caught naked by Thomas or having to see him stand. Now, see, they don't use his pronouns. The other AP uses that person's pronoun, the chosen pronouns, and the Zero Hedge article uses traditional pronouns based on your physiological sex. Seeing him stand around naked displaying his manhood, I was literally racing U.S. and Olympic gold medalists, and I was changing in a storage closet at this elite level meet. I just felt my privacy and safety were being violated in the locker room, Aylens told the Free Press. Women's racing suits are so tight they require 15 to 20 minutes to put on. I had no idea, notes the complaint. While you're doing this, you're exposed, said Caitlin Wheeler, another Kentucky swimmer, to the Free Press. You can't stand there and hold a towel around you while putting on a suit at the same time. Thomas, who wasn't a noteworthy athlete when competing against fellow men, won the women's national championship in the 500-meter freestyle by a huge margin, beating three female Olympic medalists in the spectacle. So we all know the story. So good for them. I'm glad this is a lawsuit that's overdue. Again, I'll have it in the links today. The entire lawsuit, if you want to peruse it. We're not going to do that here because it's 150 pages. Looks like 150 pages. My God, 156 page complaint. All right, moving on. Another thing trending on Twitter this morning was airdrop. Apparently they are airdropping food to Gaza, and some of it, well, there have been people killed by some of it because there was one incident where some parachutes failed and people were trying to, wait for it, and it landed on them and it killed them. I think 7 people were killed on one day. Also, in this case, apparently some of the aid dropped in between buildings, landed in a spot that was inaccessible. So they had some people trying to figure that out there. But where is let's see. But then again, now here, just about now, at least one Palestinian was killed, many injured by terrorist airdrop. You are killing people intentionally. Shame on you, monsters. Shame on you. So even when we drop aid to them, we are monsters because there have been accidents. But the U.S. Central Command conducts the 13th humanitarian airdrop into Gaza. U.S. Central Command conducted an airdrop of humanitarian assistance into northern Gaza on March 17, 2024 at 12:06 p.m. Gaza time to provide essential relief to civilians affected by the ongoing conflict. The joint operation, including 2 C-17 Globemaster III U.S. Air Force aircraft and U.S. Army soldiers specialized in aerial delivery of U.S. humanitarian assistance supplies. The U.S. C-17 dropped over 28,800 U.S. meals and 34,500 half-liter bottles of water into northern Gaza, an area in great need, allowing for civilian access to the critical aid. Now, what's interesting about this too? They've been sending, some of this is in the form of MREs, meals ready to eat, Army meals. They're basically vacuum packed, sometimes dry, you have to reconstitute them and stuff like that. And one of the complaints is some of the meals that they're sending are not halal. So there's that conflict. So they're mad about that. And then there have been a couple accidents. Now, the Department of Defense humanitarian airdrops contribute to ongoing U.S. and partner nation government efforts to alleviate human suffering. These airdrops are part of a sustained effort, and we will continue to plan follow-on aerial deliveries. So it's interesting. So we're sending aids to both sides. We're sending aid to both sides in that conflict. All right. And then finally on the trending topics, which is the main topic today. Yes, bloodbath. The word bloodbath is being bandied about as though Donald Trump were calling for violence. And I got to tell you, this is amazing. It is just textbook media BS. And so we're going to go through a few articles about this because I could scroll through Twitter and give you hundreds of examples of people just blatantly lying about what Trump was saying. So Biden campaign and established media attacked Trump with fake interpretation of bloodbath comments at an Ohio rally. Former President Donald Trump on Saturday forecast a financial bloodbath awaits the U.S. motor industry if he is not elected and China is unable to swamp the country with other products. What is going on here? The comments came at an Ohio rally hosted by Buckeye Values PAC, where he discussed the possibility of an increasing trade war with China over auto manufacturing in general and electric-type vehicles in particular. Trump said, quote, here's the quote. Now, listen to the quote. I'm going to say it. I'm not even letting him say it. I'm going to say it. I'm going to read it. Well, no, let's let him say it. Here's the full context of the quote. Let's see. Well, what the hell happened there? Okay, here we go. Now, let's try it again. Hang on.
Mexico has taken, over a period of 30 years, 34% of the automobile manufacturing business in our country. Think of
Aaron
it.
Meredith.
Went to Mexico. China now is building a couple of massive plants where they're going to build the cars in Mexico and they think that they're going to sell those cars into the United States with no tax at the border. Let me tell you something to China. If you're listening, President Xi, and you and I are friends, but he understands the way I deal, those big monster car manufacturing plants that you're building in Mexico right now, and you think you're going to get that, you're going to not hire Americans, and you're going to sell the cars to us. Now, we're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole... That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it. But they're not going to sell those cars. They're building massive factories. A friend of mine,
Okay, now, there's more, but we'll stop there. Okay, that's the quote. If we allow them to sell all these cars here, or if the Biden administration, implying the Biden administration, just let those cars flow in here. Because, look, China controls most of the battery production in the world too. They by leaps and bounds, their battery production is they own that particular industry, right? And they want to make more battery places here, but look, the whole electric car thing's nuts anyway. But anyway, it's clear as you listen to that entire context of that statement that he was not talking about anyone here fomenting violence. He was talking about a financial bloodbath, right? Well, critics in the political arena and the general media were quick to willfully manipulate Trump's words and infer intentions on his behalf, even after Trump campaign spokesman Stephen Chung made clear Trump had clearly been talking about the impact of offshoring in the country's auto industry and his own plans to increase tariffs on Ford-made cars. And his spokesman said crooked Joe Biden and his campaign are engaging in deceptively out of context editing, he said. Because the only thing, in fact, here, let's go to what Nancy Pelosi said. Okay, let's Nancy Pelosi. Well, here she was trending herself. Oh no, did I accidentally close it? Oh, I see what I did. So Nancy Pelosi was one of, and this is just typical. What the hell? Well, let's go back to Bloodbath. God damn it. Okay. So, let's see if I can find. Well, here's the example. Here's an example. ABC World News Tonight. Listen to how they characterize this.
Begin tonight with the race for the White House and former President Trump's campaign now on the defensive after his fiery rhetoric at a rally in
wait. They're now on the defensive. Now, why are they on the defensive? Because you lied about them.
on Saturday night. Trump warning while discussing the economy that there would be a, quote, bloodbath if he is not reelected in November. This after the former president kicked off the event by paying tribute to those who attacked the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. President Biden's campaign swiftly denouncing those comments as threats of political violence.
Because so again, they frame it so that they don't even tell you the context of the bloodbath statement. Now, where does this go?
That is exactly.
And then also look what they use for pictures. Now, is this ABC using the pictures?
Who they are.
Okay, that's someone else. That's someone's video who's lying about it too. Now with the transcribed opinion of it. Well, you lied. Oh, here, yeah. Joe Scarborough. Here's Joe Scarborough. Here's morning dipshit. Morning Joe.
Talking about a bloodbath for America. It's laid out in the terms of it. And these idiots on Twitter, these idiots on cable news, these idiots on Sunday shows going, well, presidents, you know, he was talking only about the auto industry, and this is one more. It's just bullshit. Let me say that at 6:15 a.m. It's just bullshit. He knew what he was doing. We're not stupid.
Oh,
Americans
yes,
aren't stupid.
You're brilliant,
He was
Joe.
talking about a bloodbath. Sometimes a bloodbath means a bloodbath. And when he finishes by saying, and that's just going to be the least of it, seriously?
Economic bloodbath. As if no one's ever used that term before.
These people may be stupid. We're not.
Oh no, you're absolutely stupid, Joe. You're absolutely stupid. So let's just let's do this. So let's look at some examples. Let's look at examples of media using the term bloodbath. Politico. Here's some examples.
But as Politico.com reports tonight on the, quote, bloodbath at the RNC.
Headlines calling it a, quote, bloodbath. Be a bloodbath. Not only is it going to be a bloodbath, but after they leave New Hampshire, it's a bloodbath.
Wait, hold on. Let me start this over because I forgot a very key point that I need to insert into this as we watch this video. Okay, so let's start over.
But as Politico.com reports tonight on the, quote, bloodbath at the RNC.
Headlines calling it a, quote, bloodbath.
Be a bloodbath. Not only is it going to be a bloodbath, but after they leave New Hampshire, it's a bloodbath on her home turf. That's really tough. Trump has left a lot of corpses in his wake.
Oh, corpses. I'll even give you that one.
As part of the, quote, MAGA drive to take over Maricopa County. And the headline refers to it as an impending bloodbath.
Columnist Charles Blow has a new piece for the New York Times entitled
Blow.
A Biden Bloodbath.
Charles
2018
Blow.
midterms, you can bet that they 100% are fearing a slaughter. In fact, the
A
word
slaughter.
bloodbath and
Bloodbath.
massacre come up
Massacre.
frequently.
The Republican Party will be destroyed. It's going to be a bloodbath.
It's
going to be a bloodbath one way or the other.
Bloodbath
for Bernie Sanders.
Bloodbath.
It's been a bloodbath. They're shaping up to be a bloodbath.
Head off a bloodbath in next year's crucial midterm.
Off-year elections are often a bloodbath.
This week's bloodbath for Democrats, a bloodbath at the ballot box.
There could be a Republican bloodbath.
They'll talk about a bloodbath.
It's a bloodbath. I have to talk about you.
It's going to be a bloodbath all day long.
Is in for a bloodbath.
Hasn't been a bloodbath on the way down with Donald Trump.
My favorite
bloodbath.
My fist.
Bloodbath.
My finger can't go fast enough.
May not be the bloodbath.
It would be a bloodbath.
More of a bloodbath.
It's going to be a bloodbath in November.
Possible Biden bloodbath.
Oh my goodness.
This November.
A bloodbath on Wall Street.
There's going to be a bloodbath
in Alabama into a bloodbath.
Obviously, there was a bloodbath. It was a bloodbath. We're down 800 points.
This bloodbath at Department of Homeland Security.
And it's a bloodbath today.
There was going to be this bloodbath.
Election bloodbath.
It could be a bloodbath for them. Bloodbath, possibly.
Bloodbath that went through with the Attorney General.
Bloodbath 99 days out.
The bloodbath is going to look like
Presided over a bloodbath in the diplomatic corps.
Absolute, in my opinion, bloodbath. The Democrats are
calling it ticket sales turned into a bloodbath.
Ticket sales for singer Taylor Swift's latest tour.
It's safe to say the fans had a blood.
So, it's such a commonly used term in politics and finance and everything, but only Donald Trump is calling for violence. Daily Wire, media's wall-to-wall coverage of Donald Trump's bloodbath comments delivers zero context. Now, that even the ABC clip, they didn't mention what it meant, what he was talking about. Multiple media outlets, liberal pundits, and pretty much everyone who can't stand former President Donald Trump engaged in a virtual feeding frenzy over the weekend, frothing at the mouth over his campaign rally comment promising a bloodbath if his 2024 presidential bid is unsuccessful. Anyone reading the headlines published by a number of mainstream outlets might believe that Trump was not just predicting, but calling for political violence if he were to lose another election. New York Times headline: Trump says some migrants are not people and predicts a bloodbath if he loses. Now, by the way, the not people comment, he was referring to MS-16 or whatever, gangs that murder people. He's saying they're not even people. They're inhuman. The Guardian, Trump predicts bloodbath if he loses election and claims Biden beat Obama. NBC News, Trump says there will be a bloodbath if he loses the election. Politico, Trump says country faces bloodbath if Biden wins in November. Rolling Stone, Trump says there will be a bloodbath and elections will end if he isn't reelected. President Joe Biden's re-election campaign openly accused Trump of wanting another riot on Capitol Hill, a repeat of what happened on January 6, 2021. The campaign blasted Trump as a loser who doubles down on his threats of political violence, adding he wants another January 6. Here's what the Biden-Harris campaign wrote. Biden-Harris campaign statement on Trump promising bloodbath if he loses. Tonight, Donald Trump said there would be a bloodbath if he wasn't elected and that if he lost, there would be no more elections. After opening the general election by meeting with authoritarian leaders and rallying alongside conspiracy theorists, Donald Trump continues to praise dictators' promise to pardon political violence and launch racist attacks against black and brown Americans. I'm sorry, when did he do that? Anybody? When did he do that? What are you talking about? You are so full of shit. It's why last night, Trump's own former vice president, Mike Pence, who Trump supporters called to hang for not overturning the election, came out against Trump. Again, oh my God. This is who Donald Trump is, a loser who gets beat by over 7 million votes and instead, appealing to a wider mainstream audience, doubles down on his threats of political violence. He wants another January 6th, but the American people are going to give him another electoral defeat this November because they continue to reject his extremism, his affection for violence, and his thirst for revenge. Holy shit. But while those outlets and others were only too happy to share that one cherry-picked line, Trump predicts bloodbath if he loses in November, they were equally happy to leave out the fact that at the time he was specifically talking about the automobile industry and the economic impact of a company owned by Communist China building cars in Mexico to avoid U.S. tariffs. So we got the full context of the already, and then we showed you the Grabian media video already. So of all the times that they use bloodbath. Moving on the same topic though, and the reaction may be what Trump was looking for because just to prove how big of liars they are. It's amazing. Donald Trump pulled his Charlie Brown and Lucy disappearing football trick at a rally in Ohio on Saturday, and like Charlie Brown, Joe Biden and the media fell for it again. Trump is railing against auto imports, promising a 100% tariff on cars made outside the U.S., and then they give the same quote. Is Trump really saying if he isn't elected, there will be a bloodbath? Joe Biden thinks so. His campaign released a statement claiming Trump wants, you guessed it, another January 6th. And then, so he says, I'm sure Trump is grateful to Biden for the advice on how to win the campaign, but Donald Trump wasn't threatening political violence. He was talking about auto workers being hurt by foreign competition. It's amazing, isn't it, how both Trump and Biden see the end of democracy if the other wins. If Biden can say it, why can't Trump? And it said, because his quote was, if we don't win this election, I don't think you're going to have another election, or certainly not an election that is meaningful, Trump said. And he says, frankly, I don't think either man can end democracy or prevent a meaningful election in 2028. Spot on. Neither do I believe that democracy is teetering or in any great danger. The U.S. Republic withstood far worse threats to its existence than anyone running for president in 2024. So anyway, that's Rick Moran from PJ Media. Interesting take, and probably as spot on as you could be. And so the Biden's communications director did, again, what's his name? Michael Tyler. Full of shit. Went on MSNBC, which is also trending, and said that his bloodbath comments were an endorsement of political violence. Listen, this is 7 minutes. This is 7 minutes long. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but I'll leave it in the links. Biden campaign communications director Michael Tyler said Sunday on MSNBC's Inside. Inside Jen Psaki? No. That former President Donald Trump's bloodbath comment was an endorsement of political violence. On Saturday at a rally in Ohio, we already know the story. Anchor Jen Psaki said, when you heard the full context and when you saw those comments, that rally, what did you hear? Tyler, who's a demagogue and a bullshit artist, said, what I heard was the same endorsement of political violence we have seen from Donald Trump for years. No, you haven't. And that's just it. You know what's funny about this whole Trump rally, political violence, fucking bullshit, right? When Trump was running for president in 2016, you would have news outlets claim that there was violence at a Trump rally. The headline would be violence breaks out at a Trump rally. Then you would look into the story, and it wasn't the Trump people committing the violence. The Trump people would be being attacked by assholes like Antifa and other ne'er-do-wells would attack people waiting for a Trump rally. Just like when Ben Shapiro went to speak at Stanford, there was the big hubbub outside and the Antifa were out there protesting and beating people up. And that was happening at Trump rallies all the time. And in fact, that's why a certain group, which they seem to think are fascist extremists, but they don't know the real history behind the group, known as the Proud Boys, came to be. Because at conservative events, Antifa would go around attacking people who coming to those events. And so, what was the dude? There was one dude though that had beat the crap out of a bunch of them. But that's why the Proud Boys came into being. Now, somehow the Proud Boys got this mythical story made up about them, and it's funny because it kind of came up in the Trump debate with Joe Biden in 2016, where he said, something about, they started calling them right-wing extremists, white supremacists, whatever, even though the Proud Boys were decidedly multicultural. Base stick man, yeah, that was it. Avocados Diabli. This myth that this was some white supremacist, hate group. No, they were just there to protect people from getting beat up by Antifa. So they became like, the yin and yang of Antifa and Proud Boys fighting with each other, so they wouldn't fight, beat up conservatives going to certain rallies and speeches and whatever. But that's where this myth of the violent Trump supporters came from headlines saying that violence broke out at a Trump rally when it was Trump supporters being attacked by Antifa asswipes. But oh my God, they are called Antifa. Do you know what Antifa stands for? That means anti-fascist. Well, nobody likes fascists. No, they're little fascist brown shirt pricks who cover their faces and hide and beat people up with, clubs and bicycle locks and stupid shit. So, and the media would just play along. Well, no, they're anti-fascist. See, anti-fascist, that's a good thing. They're like the anti-fascist in Nazi, in Germany in the late 30s. They were anti-fascists. No, they're violent pricks who just are filled with hate and rage. But you can't say that about them, and you can't say that they're a hate group, because it doesn't meet the Southern Poverty Law Center's definition of hate group, or what's the other one? ADL. So anyway, this is just classic bullshit. Now, it doesn't help when you have Republicans who, before they actually know what the fuck they are talking about, commenting on what the news people say happened, because the news people want a reaction from a Republican saying, ooh, Trump bad. So you get this asshole, Bill Cassidy, who's I think he's a senator from Louisiana, on Sundays, Meet the Depressed, said that former Donald Trump's bloodbath comments were concerning for some voters. Yeah, because you're listening to the lies the media tells you, and you want to be liked by the media. And no matter what you say bad about Donald Trump or any other Republicans, the media, when it comes down to it, they are against you, dumbass. So maybe you should get some context before you comment on this shit. Here's Bill Cassidy.
In his impeachment
8 minutes. 8 minutes. I'm not doing 8 minutes of Bill Cassidy. Senator Bill Cassidy on Sunday. We know what Donald Trump's comments were. Anchor Kristen Welker said, quote, I want to start by getting your reaction to Donald Trump's comments about a bloodbath. Notice she doesn't give any context. Do you think those comments were appropriate? Now, I can guarantee you Bill Cassidy has no fucking clue what Donald Trump was talking about when he heard it. All he heard was the media saying, if Joe Biden's elected, there will be a bloodbath. That's all he was told. I guarantee you he doesn't know the full context when he answers this question. Cassidy said, the general tone of the speech is why many Americans continue to wonder should President Trump should be president. That kind of rhetoric is on the edge, and maybe it doesn't cross, maybe it does, depending on your perspective. Wow, what a weaselly fucking thing to say. If you know the full context, your answer should be, bitch, what are you talking about? He was talking about an economic bloodbath if we continue to let Chinese vehicles come in from Mexico with no tariffs. That's what he said. Those were his exact words. What the fuck are you talking about, ho? Okay, I can't imagine Bill Cassidy calling her a hoe, but you know what I mean. Come on, man.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
So anyway, so it doesn't help when Republicans don't get the full context themselves, and then they say something fucking stupid like that. So moving on. Other things trending because of it. MSNBC, because all of their shows were pushing this bullshit because that's what they were told to do. What else? Other trending is context, because obviously that was badly taken out of context. And then the other one was, Paul Manafort's trending. Now, I don't know if this is a rumor or true. Apparently, Donald Trump is thinking about bringing Paul Manafort back into his campaign. And so, boy, oh boy, are people losing their fucking minds over that one. So Bill Kristol, the shitbag former Republican, now Democratic shill, Trump plans a campaign role for Manafort. Treason doth not never prosper. What the reason? If it prosper, none dare call it treason. What the fuck are you talking about? That's someone named John Harrington. He's making some quote. Scott Adams, you aren't being honest enough to engage in a meaningful way. You know Trump did not collude. Manafort scammed a Russian billionaire with useless internal polling and got caught. That's why Manafort was apparently very controversial figure. Now, I don't know what this editorial board is. I was telling you that Trump is so weak that he needs the Russians to help him beat Joe Biden. Well, today we learned he's thinking about bringing Paul Manafort back to his campaign. Manafort was convicted for his involvement in a Russian attack on the U.S. No, he wasn't. Oh my God. That is a complete lie. No, holy shit. Manafort was, oh my God. He was convicted of something completely different. And in fact, Scott Adams said Manafort scammed a Russian billionaire with useless internal polling data and got caught. Oh my God. There's a thread of this. Donald Trump reported considering bringing Paul Manafort, his former campaign manager, who he pardoned, back into the political arena as a campaign advisor for his potential 2024 presidential run. Okay. Anyway, they're all losing their minds. Do I put a Washington Post article? No, I'm not. I don't care. They're losing their minds. Now, who knows if this is true or not, or if this is just something that somebody floated to get them to bite. Because again, as was described in the article earlier, Donald Trump is like Lucy and all these motherfuckers are Charlie Brown. And every time, boy, he pulls that football out and they land on their ass. And it's just no different this time. Holy shit. Real quick, thank you, TC, for tweeting out the show. I did not today, so I appreciate you doing that. And again, Somnambule Nation did it also, so I'm reposting both of you again. All right, let's move on. Let's see, we did that one already. Now, let's talk about someone who is calling for violence, though, because this bloodbath comment, we all know the context now. We know that most of them are pushing bullshit, right? So, but in Tennessee, here's an interesting little tidbit. A Tennessee Democrat is calling for riots after a Republican sent pro-police bill to the governor's desk, saying you ain't seen nothing yet. A Tennessee Democrat state senator called for riots on Friday after the Republican-controlled state Senate passed a bill preventing cities from restricting their police forces from making certain traffic stops. State Senator Charlene Oliver, who represents Nashville, said the Republicans' pro-police legislation is, quote, rooted in racism, end quote, and will force those in her district to, quote, fight like hell, end quote. Oh my God! She used the term fight like hell? The bill was sponsored by Republican State Senator Brent Taylor after Memphis passed an ordinance that banned traffic stops for issues such as expired registrations, a single inoperable headlight or brake light, and loose bumpers, News Channel 3 reported. The Memphis City Council passed the ordinance following the death of Tyre Nichols, a black man who was fatally injured during a confrontation with 5 black Memphis police officers on January 7, 2023, after he was pulled over. Quote, it is a slap in the face and you might as well stomp on the grave of Tyre Nichols, Oliver said after a state Senate passed Taylor's bill by a vote of 26-6. So this wasn't just like well, I'm pretty sure the state Senate in Tennessee is probably mostly Republican, but good morning, Jimmy Das Hotep. And to continue, yes, we are emotionally charged. Why? Because it's personal for us. Taylor made this personal the minute, or Taylor made this personal the minute he introduced this legislation to target one family and one life that was lost. No. It wasn't made to target one family. It was to override the Memphis City Council's ordinance they tried to pass. Because regardless of this very tragic, I guess, event, I don't know a whole lot of deal about the Tyre Nichols thing. It may be tragic, or it may just be, who knows? Maybe something was proper about it. I don't know. I don't know the case. But regardless, Oliver added, so yeah, we gonna fight. Dr. King said that riots are the language of the unheard. You ain't seen nothing yet. If you keep silencing us like this, what do you think our district is going to do? We've had it up to here. Gloves are off, like we gonna fight like hell. You don't expect us to respond when you gaslight us every single day with these bills? Huh.
It is a slap in the face, and you might as well stomp on the grave of Tyre Nichols for bringing this bill. Yes, we are emotionally charged. Why? Because it's personal for us.
This is the same
Taylor
thing.
made this personal the minute he introduced this legislation to target one family.
Not targeting the
and one
family.
life
Not targeting
that
them.
was lost.
Not targeting the
So
family.
yeah, we're gonna fight. Dr. King said the riots are the language of the unheard. You ain't seen nothing yet. If you keep silencing us like this, what do you think our district's gonna do?
Burn their own houses down?
Here. Gloves off.
Burn their own businesses down?
Like,
What?
we're gonna fight like hell. You don't expect us to respond when you gaslight us every single day
Clearly she doesn't know what the word gaslight means.
with these bills. There's a bill to get rid of the Tennessee Human Rights Commission that they're gonna bring to abolish it. rooted in the Civil Rights Act, to make sure that we have protections for folks that look like Tyre Nichols. Don't tell me this stuff ain't racist. Don't tell me it's not. It is rooted in racism. This was a Jim Crow bill that Taylor brought, and all the Confederates voted for it today.
What? Ooh, man. I guess I need to get up on the speed on that. Anyway, the 5 Memphis police officers who got into the confrontation with Nichols were charged in his death. Footage from the camera mounted on the nearby pole showed officers kicking and beating Nichols while he was on. Oh, that one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And all 5 officers, I believe, are being have been charged. And in fact, one of the 5 officers pleaded guilty to excessive force and obstruction of justice in exchange for prosecution. Now, look. So this is that case. I remember this one. And again, look, police officers serve a purpose, but they need to do their fucking job right. And in this case, these officers lost their fucking mind. And apparently there might have been some angle that one of the officers had personal issues with Nichols because of a love triangle kind of thing. I don't know if that's true or not. That was hinted. But yeah, these officers, they were in the wrong and they should all be prosecuted. No one's arguing that. But the idea that you would no longer do traffic stops because of it is why. Okay. Now, they may need some training on how they're going to do what they're going to do on traffic stops and make sure that they're not, not going far beyond their actual duty. Like in this case, these guys should be in prison, all 5 of them, for beating the hell out of this guy. But it's 2 different things. Maybe she should introduce a bill on what kind of training they should have then. But still, I don't think so. She's gonna call for but basically she just called for riots there. Hello, Sheagrath, how you doing? And Jen T, what's up? So anyway, all right, let's get through the headlines. I gotta go, so let's get through the headlines now. Don Lemon. The reason why Don Lemon didn't get his show on X. Remember we talked about that last week. Apparently, CNN host was trying to make his big comeback a la Tucker Carlson with his own show on X, the social media platform. His first big get was Elon Musk, an interview that was supposed to air on his debut show, but will air on YouTube instead. But then Lemon opened his mouth and removed all doubt. Hubris rolled out. Don asked questions in an attempt to portray Musk as a druggy white supremacist and lackey for Donald Trump, and it didn't work out well. Lemon went on his old network to debut parts of his interview and ended up pooping on the head that was trying to feed him on The View. He whined that Musk fired him from X. Musk says Lemon can still post his show on X and receive ad revenue, but that means that Lemon won't get the reported list of perks he supposedly demanded from Musk. So the New York Post reports that Lemon and X had not agreed yet on a contract. When you see his demands, you might imagine why. So his list included that he demanded from X a free Cybertruck, a $5 million signing bonus, an $8 million a year salary, equity stake in X, editorial control over X news content, and a $10 to $15 million ad budget per year. Oh my God, I am not asking for enough. I need to ask for more. You know what they say, shoot for the moon, even if you miss, you land among the stars. We'll bet Lemon has that on a sign in his house somewhere. Oh my God. This is oh. Okay, I'm not reading anymore. We know why he didn't get that. Because nobody on X gets that. What a dumbass. In MRC TV, Supreme Court, public officials who censor critics on social media violate the First Amendment. Sometimes. The Supreme Court on Friday ruled that public officials who post about topics relating to their work on their personal social media accounts are acting on behalf of the government and therefore can be held liable for violating the First Amendment when they block their critics only when they have the power to speak on behalf of the state and are actually exercising that power. So that's when they're on their personal social media sites, when they block people. If they're doing official government business, the Supreme Court says blocking people, then you are in violation of the First Amendment, I guess. I don't know how that makes sense, but whatever. And then there's an article, Free Speech Online Depends on SCOTUS Rejecting the Government's Censorship Excuses in Murphy versus Missouri. There's a case in Missouri on July 24th, 2023. Louisiana-based federal judge Terry Doherty issued a historic decision in the censorship case, then called Missouri versus Biden. The case was filed by 2 state attorney generals, including Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt, who now sits in the U.S. Senate. The decision made news not just for the result and for the date it was issued, but for the importance Doherty showed in the underlying issue. In fact, Doherty's opinion echoed the lofty rhetoric of the great federal court decisions issued during the Civil Rights era, but the political dynamic had flipped. Instead of a liberal federal judges siding with the federal government to strike down prejudiced state and local laws, as in the 50s and 60s, here we had a conservative judge siding with local officials and private citizens against a federal bureaucracy run by the Democratic Party. Anyway, this is a free speech case. It's a good article. I can't go through it now, but that's the headline. Also, apparently the CIA was also involved in the January 6th riots, we're finding out. Apparently, now, Judicial Watch has been getting documents. They sued the federal court to uncover January 6 documents relating to the records and communications regarding shots being fired inside the U.S. Capitol, as well as requests for Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives Special Response Team assistance on January 6. And the question that's coming up is, why didn't the Pelosi January 6th Commission, as corrupt as it was, why did they not disclose the CIA involvement? What were they used for? Were they investigating foreign intelligence operations? Were they investigating American citizens? What else have they done related to January 6th? So they received the ATF document showing that the CIA had multiple operators there that day. So that's a big question. Why? And there's an entire article on it. In American Greatness, guilty but not really. Oh, this is an article by Victor David Hansen. What's this about? I didn't read this one yet. Oh, this is an article on why somehow when Democrats do things like perjure themselves in front of Congress or contempt of Congress or just straight up do things illegal like Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden, they never get prosecuted. So they end up being not guilty. But when it's someone on the right, well, they're guilty before they even get to trial. They are held for long times in jail, like on the January 6th people, or clearly that Donald Trump is guilty until he's proved himself innocent in the documents case, according to Democrats. So it's a whole article, just multiple examples of that. In legal insurrection. Oh, this is a state senator in, what state is this in? I can't remember which state she's in. She is in, she's also in Tennessee. A lead state senator claims that she feels like a slave because she's not in the majority or something. Let's see. How long is this?
What we see here is drunk on power. I don't like that you take this position on this bill, so I'm going to silence you. That's a form of slavery. I feel like a slave sometimes
in the Senate. She's a state senator.
I'm over it. And all of the members standing here are over it. At what point are we going to truly be a democratic body, respect the fact that every single one of us are represented by the same amount of people in their districts, and we all deserve the same voice and the same level of respect, regardless if we agree or not? I am tired of the Republican Party expecting us as minorities to do what they want to do, but treat us disrespectfully. Nah, we're not doing that no more. We at this time of session where gloves off. And I support any of my members.
Gloves off, more violent rhetoric.
Have the right to defend themselves, to not accept disrespect, and we shouldn't expect disrespect from the other side of the aisle. I just wanted to get it off my chest.
Okay. She's just not like being, she doesn't like the fact that the Texas Senate has a huge majority of Republicans. And so they can't get what they want done because the Republicans won't let them. So anyway, in Breitbart, Oh, remember Olivia Rodrigo, who you probably have no idea who the hell that is, because I didn't, but she was the one giving away morning after pills. Well, she's not doing it anymore because there was a backlash, and she can't stand the heat of what she was trying to do. Olivia Rodrigo concerts will no longer feature free contraceptives, lubrication, and morning after pills for fans after a public backlash. Organizers told Variety widespread media attention forced a reversal, with local abortion funds told Thursday afternoon they could not distribute any such free resources at the concert. The outlet went on to detail the exact steps that forced the move by the pop singer and Joe Biden's fan management. According to three sources at local abortion funds, that decision came from Rodrigo's team and was relayed over Slack by the National Network of Abortion Funds, which partnered with the pop star to set up booths at each of her North American tour stops. Jade Hurley, the communication manager for the DC Abortion Fund, said the NNAF said Rodrigo's team preferred they no longer pass out lubrication, condoms, and Plan B because children are present at the concert. They were giving out. I didn't know they were giving out lube. Like, basically, hey, come to my show and then go get laid and then take a morning after pill. Holy shit. Okay, well, they're not doing it anymore. Silly them. Let's see. PAC running Republican voters against Trump. Oh, there's a group called Republican Voters Against Trump. It's a campaign. It's primarily funded by Democrat donors. You guessed it. Of course it is. Do I need to read any more? Is that just too obvious? Of course it is. Just like the Lincoln Project is funded by Democrats. Trump slams Biden as a great threat to democracy and fiery campaign speech. We already talked about that. And the bloodbath that it will be if he loses. And apparently Joe Biden in Breitbart is angry and anxious about lagging re-election campaign. President Biden is angry and anxious about his struggling re-election campaign. According to NBC News, things are so bad inside the White House that one recent meeting where advisors informed Biden of his falling poll numbers in battleground states like Michigan and Georgia, Biden began yelling and cursing at the staffers. Fuck you. You're an asshole. Fuck your mother. Hate you. You too. And fuck your mother's mother. Maybe that's not what he said, but anyway, he was seething. NBC Peters Nick. Now, these are NBC correspondents who are saying this. It's not just Breitbart right-wing nut jobs saying it. They're quoting NBC, which is firmly in the Biden camp. So anyway, Joe Biden's very angry because he's losing. Because he's an old dumbass. Okay, this is America. The moment you started to like Trump. Well, I still don't like Trump. But I think he's a better president than this shitbag and the bag of skin that we have in the Oval Office right now. Let's be honest. You know you like Trump, even if you hate him. Okay, that sounds fair. That might be it. I think that's what it is. And I know the reason why. You were brought up to avoid all people who exaggerated or sketched the truth or who portray themselves to be winners by denigrating the opposition. This person understands me. Your parents taught you to be humble and not brag about yourself, even though in those instances, when it was warranted. In school, your teachers routinely took you down a peg if you thought you were better than the guy who sat next to you. If you felt you knew more than your teacher and showed it, you got detention, and a letter about your behavior was sent home with you to your father. Okay. I'm going to read the rest of this. It pretty much is describing me. Okay, let's move on. Breitbart, Netanyahu told Schumer to fuck off. Oh, excuse me. No, he said Schumer calling for new elections in Israel is totally inappropriate. In other words, fuck off. In the Daily Wire, Democrat strategist James Carville says if Democrats lose in November, it's Israel's fault. Oh, my God. Well, I understand his point. He said that on MSNBC. Of course, blame it on Israel. How about blaming it on your shitbag of a president? How about that? In Breitbart, Arizona bookstore nixes a drag show for Palestine event after a backlash. I couldn't have made that up. A drag show for Palestine. A bilingual Arizona bookstore canceled its family-friendly drag show for Palestine Following backlash over the planned performance, with critics noting that drag shows, as well as any sort of LGBTQ expression, are strictly prohibited in Palestinian-controlled areas, with offenders risking their lives. Someone was talking about Queers for Palestine. I saw something about it somewhere yesterday. And I was like, you would not be allowed in Palestine. So what the fuck? But yes, they were going to have a drag show for Palestine. A family-friendly one at that, because, drag shows are so family-friendly. Self-admitted member of Hezbollah caught crossing the Texas border says he wanted to make a bomb. Yeah, it's another problem with our open borders. The Lebanese migrant was arrested at the border by Border Patrol in El Paso on March 9th after he confessed to being a Hezbollah member, the New York Post reported. I'll bet you they didn't deport him, though. Where did they do with him? I want to know where he is now. Not that they caught him. I want to know where he is now. I don't know if it says it doesn't even say in this article. Where is he now? Okay. They caught him. Because it's catch and release. What'd they do with him? Is he in a jail? They fly him back to Lebanon? Where is he? Inquiring minds want to know. In PJ Media, look whose district has become a third world brothel and bazaar. This would be Jackson Heights neighborhood in Queens, which is the most culturally diverse neighborhood in New York, if not on the planet. The neighborhoods bordering Jackson Heights, Corona, Elmhurst are also vibrant, ethnically diverse neighborhoods that are among the safest and cleanest in the city. That was before the migrant crisis of 2023. And that is where Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez represents. And apparently it's the migrants are a lot of them are concentrating in this area. And I don't think Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's constituents are very happy about it. So we'll have to watch that developing story. Breitbart, sham tough on migrant policy launched in New York City and Chicago are fake. You can read that one on your own. In National Pulse, Tyson Foods is hiring 42,000 migrants. Oh no, it's worse than that. It says Tyson Foods, a major American producer of meat, is facing a boycott calls after its human resources associate director, Garen Dolan, told Bloomberg, "We would like to employ another 42,000 migrants if we could find them," during an interview about the firm's involvement in the Tent Partnership for Refugees program founded by Shobani. Tent is led by Obama-era White House staffer Gideon Maltz. Oh my God. So, they're working really hard to find jobs for the migrants. How about for some of those homeless people? That would help too. Arizona Democrat governor begs Biden for $752 million to aid illegal migrants. How about begging him to just shut the border? Wouldn't that be a better idea, Ms. Hobbs? Legal insurrection. Biden aides involved in classified documents scandal reportedly promoted after publication of the Her report. Yes. Look, if they can promote them, then Donald Trump can have Paul Manafort. Don't care. Daily Wire. Biden demands White House audience clap during his St. Patrick's Day speech. What? Here it is.
Ireland now is one of the top 10 investors.
Wait, did he do a George? No. What's the other Bush? What's the older Bush brother, or the George W. Bush's brother? Jeb. Did he pull a Jeb? Let's hear it.
Ireland now is one of the top 10 investors in the United States economy, and our country stand proudly for liberty and against tyranny. We stand together and oppose Russia's brutal war of aggression in Ukraine. You can clap for that, please.
Okay, it wasn't quite as brutal as Jeb's. He kind of said that right away. So, whatever. All right, there's other articles. There's tons to read if you want to see the links, but I don't have time. I got to go. Thanks for joining me on this Monday version of the Morning Night Live. Even though we got an auspicious start, we finished with a flourish. Let's get the hell out of here. Thank you for joining me. I got to go. I'll drop those links in the chat and the description. Thank you. Check out the Discord server. There's always news and stuff going on there. Also, follow me on Locals. Make sure you follow me both on YouTube and Rumble. Thank you. My name is P-Dog Knight, And I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is P-Dog Night, and thank you for watching today on the P-Dog Night channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Night, and I'm out of here.